Welcome to India Podcasts.
This is like na bhuto na bhavishyati. We have never seen anything like this in the past, and I hope and pray that we don't see this ever in the future. Effectively, my net cost of a monthly lockdown will be about $60 billion plus restarting of economy. Now, this cost I have to meet with fiscal stimulus, monetary stimulus, and foreign direct investment.
At present, is COVID-19 having an impact and the redemption pressure we saw in the last 2-3 days?
So we have seen some amount of redemption, but by and large, I wouldn't call it abnormal. We have seen redemptions as per expectations.
How has life been with working from home?
Over the years, I started taking many things for granted, consciously or unconsciously. I never knew how hard my wife was working at home. Somewhere, this lockdown has made me realize that it is always the team effort.
Welcome to another episode with me, Anku Goyal. We have seen the capital markets go through a roller coaster ride. COVID-19 has further deteriorated the situation. Economy seems to be revisiting some old crisis and worse scenario. A recent Franklin Templeton event further jolted the mutual fund space with huge redemption pressure with the sudden closure of 6 fund schemes. Panic all around. But to dispel this assumption, today I am joined with one of the most credible voices in the space to guide us through. I have with me Nilesh Shah, the Managing Director and CEO of Kotak Mahindra Asset Management Company. Listen in.
Thank you so much, Nilesh, for joining us on India Podcast today. It is our privilege to have you with us on our show here. To begin with, sir, in the current scenario, we know it is the most unprecedented, is the word we all have been hearing of it till now. Uncertainty is another part of it. First, basic understanding, how are you looking at COVID-19 outbreak as large into the lives of people and, of course, economy and financial world that we are all part of?
This is clearly the most unprecedented crisis we have ever seen. In the past, we have seen medical crises like plague, Ebola. We have seen financial crisis like 2008 subprime, 2013 taper tantrum, 97 Asian crisis. But this is the perfect storm. There is a medical crisis which is locking down economic activity. It's impacting real economy. And both this are coming into financial market. So this is one spot where real economy, financial market and medical side all are coming together at one go. I just say that this is like na bhuto na bhavishyati. We have never seen anything like this in the past. And I hope and pray that we don't see this ever in the future. This undoubtedly is the most unprecedented crisis mankind has faced in last 100 years.
So there, as you have claimed that it is something that we have never seen in our past, even on the economic part, if we were already in a slowdown phase, we were seeing that economy was not going through a good shape, and now the NPA rise would be there. There would be no business are already in a closed down, shut down, lockdown moment. How do you look at the economy particularly taking the heat, and for how long do we see them take this pressure and maybe get out of it slowly or just struggle their way to come back to normalcy? To understand that.
So if I do back of the envelope calculation with lots of simplistic assumptions, our current GDP is roughly about $3 trillion US. A monthly output, assuming each month contributes equally, which is not the right assumption. At 100% lockdown, it's a $250 billion loss. If I assume as a thumb rule 50% activities are going on and 50% not, then it's a $125 billion loss. Obviously, we need a cost of startup because economy is not like a power switch. You just switch on and power. There will be a restarting cost of economy, which could be 50 billion, which could be 100 billion. We have to calculate it. Against that, India will benefit from lower oil prices. We import 1.5 billion barrel of oil every year. Oil prices comes down. We should be benefiting between 40 to 45 billion dollars. Exports are difficult. If I can replace made in China imports with made in India goods, I can shave off $20 billion from trade deficit with China or other parts of the world. Effectively, my net cost of a monthly lockdown will be about $60 billion plus restarting of economy. Now, this cost I have to meet with fiscal stimulus, monetary stimulus, and foreign direct investment. If I can manage my fiscal and monetary stimulus and attract foreign direct investment, to a great extent, I will be able to meet this $60 billion cost of output loss and the restarting cost, which could be any number.
So with the figures that you've quite elaborately tried to suggest us, this whole figure of $60 billion loss per month would be streamed around. How long can we carry it? Even if you want to manage a fiscal stimulus there has been targets given by many on the fiscal deficit part that it should be capped at around 6% of the GDP. How long should the lockdown be continued or should be lifted to manage that going further in the calculation that you've shown to us?
The economic recovery will be function of when does medical solution arrive and how much fiscal and monetary stimulus we give. In the most positive scenario, let's say that University of Oxford, which is doing research, and they have contracted vaccine manufacturing to Serum Institute Pune, and they have already started manufacturing 50 lakh doses. The human trial has begun on last Thursday. Let's assume that this trial is successful, these vaccines are available, and then medical solution will take care of coronavirus. The economic impact can then be taken care by fiscal and monetary stimulus. If fiscal and monetary stimulus is like Rohit Sharma's betting and there is early medical solution, then the recovery could be V-shaped. We go down in April, May, June, July, we can start bouncing back as and when medical solution emerges. In the most unfortunate scenario, if medical solution doesn't emerge at all or it takes long period of time, and our fiscal and monetary stimulus is below our need, then the recovery will look like L-shaped. We'll fall quickly, but we will not recover at all. So today, government will have to take a look at when medical solution emerges and what is the need of fiscal and monetary stimulus. And we'll have to think out of box in order to generate this thing. Now, obviously, there is a pressure on our rating. Rating agencies have given 3-year moratorium to Italy that whatever expenditure you do on COVID-19, we won't calculate it for your rating purpose. Now, Italy's debt to GDP ratio is 2 times that of India, but they get that advantage because they are a white man's country. We are a brown man's country. So obviously, standards will be poor or moody in our case. Now, we have to think out of box. How do we raise resources for fiscal and monetary stimulus? Now, let's look at raising resources. We have custodian of enemy property. This office has about 1 lakh crore of real estate and some financial assets. There are funds lying in education fund, KEMFA fund, the conservation of forest fund. There are funds lying in highway authority fund. Now, can we expand the purpose of spending in those funds and realize that for reconstruction post-COVID-19? Third, there are unclaimed deposits in banks, unclaimed money in mutual fund, unclaimed money in insurance companies, unclaimed money in EPFO balances. When there is unclaimed dividend, it goes back to the government after certain time. Can we move all this money into Consolidated Fund of India? And when it comes in, treat it as an income. But when it goes out, treat it as expenditure. Whenever a claimant comes, we'll make the payment. But at least right now, we'll have income to tide over this crisis. We can also learn from Mrs. Margaret Thatcher, who was Prime Minister of United Kingdom. When she became Prime Minister, UK's conditions were not that good. And she institutionalized massive asset monetization. She, in a lighter vein, sold palaces and parks. She sold all the companies starting with British Telecom. She divested lots of assets to raise revenue and cut down bureaucracy in order to generate surplus on the budgetary side. We have lots of assets in railway, in defense. We can monetize the same. Effectively, using these combinations, we will be able to generate resources to meet expenditure under COVID-19 for fiscal and monetary stimulus. And without impacting our rating, we will be able to support our economy. The second thing which is worth doing is to monetize our gold. Indians have about $2 trillion worth of gold. It's mostly unaccounted for. Now, how do I bring this dead assets into mainline economy? If government can announce a scheme whereby banks can give loan against gold and government won't ask the source of gold, then a lot of gold which is lying unaccounted for can come into businesses. People will pledge the gold to borrow money, and over a period of time, they will de-pledge the gold so that there will be no NPA in the banking system. This limited financing will ensure that businesses have necessary liquidity to survive the downturn. The government benefits because the economy will recover based on that monetization. Banks benefit because they'll have adequate security of gold and they won't be suffering from NPA. Individuals benefit because their dead assets are getting utilized into business. It's a win-win situation to monetize our dead assets and use that for the purpose of revival of this economy. If we assume 10% monetization out of $2 trillion of holding, that's $200 billion. That money can help reconstruct India post-COVID-19. It will provide financing from domestic sources without going and looking at foreign investors to fund our reconstruction. The third option is foreign direct investment. In 1980, India and China were of similar size. Today, China is 4 times bigger than us because they became manufacturer to the world and we were left behind. Samsung came to India long before it went to Vietnam. Today, it makes in India TV, fridge, AC, mobile phones. The turnover is about $10 billion. In Vietnam, their turnover is $62 billion. They are 6 times bigger in Vietnam, which is 1/10 the size of India. They contribute 28% of GDP to Vietnam. Their contribution to Vietnam's GDP is more than Government of India's contribution to Indian GDP. Vietnam has been a miracle economy because of it. Now, how do we ensure that we are able to help Samsung flourish in India like they have flourished in Vietnam? More importantly, how do we ensure that we bring people from China who are looking to move out of China to India? Well, we have a fantastic example. You know, Tata Motors wanted to set up a plant in Singur and it didn't work out. There was an SMS sent, Suswagatam or welcome to Tatas, and they came to Sanand. They got land, they got power connection immediately, they got environmental approval, they got all the necessary approvals. They were attended 24/7 to ensure that their factory continues to build at a faster pace. And in about 18 months, nano cars started rolling out of Sanand factory. What we did with Tata Motors, we have to do it with companies which wants to move out of China. If you can bring 200, 500 of such companies and we can help them flourish like Vietnam helped Samsung, can you imagine what will be growth in Indian economy? When one Suzuki came, it made India export surplus in automobile sector. Yes. It's the only engineering item in which India is export surplus. We have $14 billion surplus in exporting automobile, auto components kind of things. If we can bring many more Suzukis, many more Samsungs and help them flourish, I think India's economy can start catching up with China, which has left us behind by more than 4 times. So we need out-of-box ideas. We need unconventional thinking. We need to leverage our resources. We need to work as a nation. And I'm sure government is looking at all these options to ensure that post-COVID-19, India becomes the fastest growing economy in the world.
So with that in focus, all monetizing aspect that you have shared with us, an important immediate concern is moving consumption pattern in India. You have to create demand. There is an issue of the social fabric in India. Our workers are in panic state, getting them back to work, whether any sectors which have been massively hit. We're talking about aviation, hotel, transport. All these industries have been massively, immediately hit. And they need workforce to come back in place. How would you roll the economy immediately from a complete lockdown state, because the government has not really pushed the wheel till now? We are completely logjammed for now. How do you think the consumption pattern of India should also play a role other than the other factors and out-of-box plans of monetizing and improving our exports and FDIs in the country?
I'll give you an example of Mumbai textile mills. My father was working in a textile mills and we saw a very bad time in our family when there was a strike in textile mills. Mumbai was having probably 70 or 80 textile mills. Textiles were contributing large portion of Mumbai's economy. And as textile mills started shutting down, job losses mounted. Families like us suffered a lot. Now, we created National Textile Mills Corporation, NTC, which was loss making. They temporarily provided employment, but it was of no use. Slowly and steadily, one by one, all the textile mills started shutting down. Today, I doubt if any textile mill is operating in Mumbai. Yes. But after 10, 15, 20 years, what has happened? In some textile mills, malls have come. In some textile mills, industrial, commercial complexes have come. And people who left, their jobs in textile companies moved into other sectors. And Mumbai is still a thriving city. We have to ensure that market takes precedence over what is the current situation. Let market forces evolve. Let our entrepreneurs be supported. They'll figure out a way out of this crisis. Let there be one easy approvals on acquisition of land, easy approval on arrangement of labor. If you don't need surplus labor, you should be able to retrench them. Let there be lower cost of capital. Our entrepreneurs cannot compete in the world if they have to pay 12% interest rates and their competitor is paying 2% interest rate. If we can sort out issues of land, labor and capital and give freedom to our entrepreneurs, I'm sure they'll figure out a way out of current crisis. Like Mumbai's entrepreneurs find out a solution from the textile shutdown.
You know the major issue that has come by with Franklin Templeton and the mutual fund investors. Do you think there was a better way they could have handled the entire fiasco? Or there is a message that mutual fund investors have taken wrong from this one particular incident like happened in NBFC? One NBFC falling down led to a crisis in the entire sector. Will we see that transpiring through it? Or is there a way out because one event has quite created panic in the market?
What happened with Templeton is because of their credit profile, because of their liquidity profile. If any institution sees all the investors trying to exit at one time, then obviously portfolios are not geared for that kind of mass exodus. We build our portfolios with sufficient liquidity and contingencies, but no one provides for a contingency where everyone will disappear at one go. All I request investors, please look at my portfolio and then come to a judgment. I will respect your judgment, and I'm quite confident looking at our quality and our liquidity, your decision will be to remain invested with us.
So at present, is COVID-19 having an impact and the redemption pressure we saw in the last 2-3 days, is it manageable? Because RBI has also come up with an option of pushing through a 50,000 crore window there for MF. So how do you understand COVID impact on the MF industry for that matter?
So undoubtedly, COVID-19 has created some need for cash flow. If your revenues have plummeted in the month of April and your cost continues, then obviously you will redeem your investments. Now, all corporate investments or retail investments or HNA investments are not only in mutual fund. We have reasonable share, but insurance, banks and others also have a reasonably good share. So we have seen some amount of redemption, but by and large, I wouldn't call it abnormal. In all low credit risk fund, right from overnight fund all the way up to dynamic bond funds, we have seen redemptions as per expectations, no significant development. On credit risk fund, obviously when on Thursday night Templeton announced winding down, there was panic. Friday there was redemption. Monday it continued. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it tapered off significantly. It's down today probably 70 to 90% across distributors. The effort which we put on in communicating to investors that please look at fact sheets and then take a call. Any investor who looked at our portfolios has decided to remain invested.
Do you think people will still be having interest in MF space the way it had started in 2015-16 and we saw the surge go very high for the first time in the history?
So the trust, obviously you have to gain over a period of time and it can disappear with one incidence. जीतने के लिए आपको जिंदगी पर मेहनत करनी पड़ती है. आपकी गलती उसे शीशे की तरह तोड़ सकती है. Undoubtedly, mutual funds will have to work hard to regain investors' trust. We have to get it by our conduct, our transparency.
There is no need to fear double any further investment. It depends what trust you have with a particular mutual fund investor and the fund manager.
Absolutely. So it is our conduct, it is our transparency which will build trust. And I'm sure those investors who have experienced us, who have seen our portfolios, they will retain their trust, they will keep their trust. But I can't take trust for granted. I have to add value to my customer's portfolio. I may have a 25 years track record of performance, but if for next 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, I don't perform, then obviously I will lose the trust. Customers give me money so that I can add value to them. If I can't add value to them, I can't retain their trust.
So, with the current situation, could you also give us a hint which sectors, according to you, are a little overweight in the market if we specifically talk about? Because we know certain sectors have taken hit, but market is still going up high. I mean, we are in a bear market situation, but we still see some progressive approach in the last few days. How are you looking at markets, and especially some sectors which you think are overweight at this point and can be looked at?
From a sectoral point of view, one sector which we have been bullish is chemicals and specialty chemicals. India's global market share has increased from 2.5% to 4% over the last couple of years. China, on the other hand, has come down from 43% to 39%, and it will dwindle further. Like IT industry started first receiving multi-million-dollar contracts, and then it became multi-$100 million contracts, and eventually became billion-dollar contracts. We are seeing similar trend in chemical industry. Indian companies are getting multi-million-dollar contracts, and eventually it will go into multi-$100 million contract. So chemicals and specialty chemical is one space where we think there is great opportunity for India, just like it was in IT industry in Y2K time. We are also bullish on contract manufacturing firms. These are the firms which manufacture consumer durables today and supply to the global brands who market it in India. It's quite likely that they will be chosen as a global supplier. This opens up their scale by 5 times, 10 times, 15 times, 20 times. So that's one sector we are looking at. In financial services, we believe savings pool will increase, and companies which can participate in that savings pool as people become conservative and start saving for rainy days. Companies which can participate in that savings pool will benefit. It could be mutual fund, insurance, or even banks. We are also trying to avoid leverage companies across our portfolios. Leverage will become lethal in this point of time, and clearly companies which have more than necessary leverage will find it difficult to protect shareholder value. So we are staying away from leveraged entities as far as possible. Overall, we believe while one should focus on sector on a top-down basis, at the end of the day, it's the promoter which makes the difference.
So the IIP numbers negative, GDP also we've gone down now 5%. I think we're aiming at 2 to 3% if June becomes the month where we are able to contain COVID. Are you going to revise your Nifty targets? Do you think you want to revise it at this point with even the IIP numbers coming out? Is there kind of a change in your opinion around that?
We don't predict Nifty targets. Life has taught us very early that there's no way one can predict future. In my 30-year career, I have never met a person who can predict future. Our job is to invest in good businesses run by good promoters at good prices. So there's no Nifty target for me. The targets are always moving. It's so easy to say, but in 30 years, I can assure you, it's very, very difficult to execute.
Last, what is your appeal to people at this point? We have a lot of front foot warriors there, doctors and police people, bankers and essential service provider, all working on ground. Government is doing their bit. Everybody's working on their front. You guys are working from home. A lot in life must have changed for now from working from home. Things have become more hectic for people. Life has become more busy. What is the message for people there at home waiting desperately for lockdown to open, and still they have managed to survive this unprecedented phase of life for everybody?
My message to everyone is stay safe, stay healthy. Right now, of your physical health, your financial health, which has deteriorated due to this crisis, we should be able to cover it up in the days to come. Don't worry about financial health deterioration. Just stay safe, stay healthy, and I'm sure that with steps taken by the government and RBI, we will be able to recover our financial health.
How has life been with working from home? How much do you think you have learned in the last 1 month? Has anything changed for you for good now when you come back to a normal life now?
I think over the years, I started taking many things for granted, consciously or unconsciously. I never knew how hard my wife was working at home. I never knew how important it was to have office assistants who were constantly supporting me. I never appreciated how important it was to meet my colleagues and discuss with them. This lockdown has made me realize that I have to be thankful to so many people who have supported me all throughout my life. I have to thank my family because they are doing all kinds of work in this challenging time. I have to thank my office assistants who have supported me so much. I have to thank my office colleagues who have shared my burden. Somewhere this lockdown has made me realize that it is always the team effort. It is never one-man army which goes against the odds. It's always the effort of the entire team which helps you match. So I become more appreciative about everyone's effort days to come. This is the biggest learning of the lockdown.
That is a very humble confession to say so. More than a message, I think you have made such a big confession to learn from, that we should be grateful for things we have been getting for so long. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for sharing your message, your understanding, and your personal view for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, as Nilesh Shah suggests, a balanced monetary and fiscal policy with focus on an out-of-box thinking and medical solutions can help the economy come back on track. To listen to more episodes of India Podcast, you may now log on to Spotify, Spreaker, Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts with the name India Podcast. We're also there on Twitter and Instagram as India Podcast, and you may also follow us on the YouTube channel of India Podcast. Keep listening, stay safe, stay healthy.
Brought to you by India Podcasts in association with ICI Healthcare for Pure Care Sanitizers.